Welcome back to the channel. This is Mark from Sound Matters. We are reviewing turntables again here today on the channel. It's the Audio Technica LP60XBT. So this is the Bluetooth enabled version of their entry-level automatic turntable. Let's get straight into the review. Audio Technica have a really good reputation for building affordable but great sounding turntables, two of which I've reviewed on this channel very recently. There's the LPW50 and then the LP3XBT. The latter, the LP3, is also an automatic turntable that costs around about $100 more than this particular model that we're going to take a look at today. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these two models compare. There are in fact actually three different versions of this turntable. There's the base model, the LP60, which just has a built-in Phono preamp. It's analog output only. And then there are two other versions. There's the LP60XBT, which is the model we look at today, that has built-in Bluetooth as well as the Phono stage output. And then there's the LP60 USB, which of course drops the Bluetooth in favor of a USB output, which is great if you want to archive your records, create digital copies on your computer. Being a fully automatic turntable, the LP60 handles all of the hard work for you. It's essentially almost as easy as using a CD player. Everything happens automatically from start to finish. This includes the raising and lowering of the tone arm. So all you have to do is place the disc on the platter and select the correct disc size, either between 12-inch or 7-inch. There is no 10-inch option, but you can still play these discs by operating the turntable semi-automatically. More on this later. For those of you who are new to record players, the LP60 is about as easy as it gets really to set up. There's nothing you have to do in terms of some turntables will make you balance the tone arm, set the counterweight and all this, that and the other. You don't need to do that with this. This is all preset at the factory. So all you really need to do is get the aluminium platter, place it onto the spindle, and then make sure that the drive belt is attached to the brass pulley. They make this very clear in the instructions on how you do this. But besides this, it's basically a very plug and play affair. You just plug in the power cable and choose whether you're going to use a wired or the Bluetooth connection for wireless connectivity, of course. If you're going to go for wired, you'll choose between the Phono or the line level output setting. If you don't have a Phono preamp somewhere in your signal chain, you'll need to select the latter to enable the LP60's built-in Phono stage. If you're unsure about what this means in terms of a Phono stage, then I'll put a link in the description of this video so I can link you to an article on my website that explains everything you need to know. Bluetooth connectivity is really simple, so it works with a aptX codec, which is significantly better than the older SBC code, so it sounds much better, and connecting to Bluetooth speakers or headphones basically works just like any other device. You put the speaker or the headphones into pairing mode, and then you press the Bluetooth button on the LP60. You'll know the connection is made when a light glows solid blue. But again, they provide really good instructions on how to do all this. Build quality wise, it's by no means badly built, but it does feel very plasticky, which by its nature makes some of the components feel, a little on the cheap side compared to some of its higher end contemporaries. It also makes it incredibly lightweight. This initially kind of concerned me a little bit because I've reviewed some turntables before where they're so light that it's easy to slide it around by simply touching it, or just using the general, operating the turntable makes it slip around a little bit. But thankfully, they factored this into the design by having very grippy, sturdy feet. So it feels very solid once it's on your actual, your playing tabletop, wherever you choose to house the record player. So from that side of things, okay, it does feel very light and very plasticky, but it does still feel sturdy with it in a way. So I think at this price, we can excuse some of these kind of design aspects in terms of the use of plastic. I think, it's the nature of the beast. This is building something to a cost. So while this is a fully automatic design, you can still operate it manually if needs be. So remember when I mentioned the lack of support for 10-inch records? Well, there is a way around this. You can use the LP60 as a semi-automatic turntable. This will also help if you want to skip tracks, as it were, or in other words, queue up specific tracks on your record. To do this, raise the tone arm using the button located to the right of the stop button. When you move the tone arm over towards the record, the platter will start spinning automatically. Cue up the stylus until you're confident that it will land in the right place, and then lower the tone arm again using the same button you used to raise it. So as you can see, this will enable you to play those 10-inch records. Whatever you do, don't start the turntable with a 10-inch record on the platter and press start with yourself in 12-inch mode, because this will basically destroy your stylus as it will land on the felt platter mat. On that note though, I should mention that if you do happen to make a really bad mistake and damage your stylus in any way, you can buy a replacement really cheaply. You can get them for around about the $20 mark. There's also a stylus upgrade costing around about $40, where you can upgrade from the stock conical stylus to an elliptical stylus, which will give you a little bit more detail in your sound. The sound quality of the LP60 definitely exceeds expectations given the underwhelming aesthetics and build. For $199, it's a very capable performer. The built-in Phono preamp seems to be the weakest link here, as I experienced a detectable uplift in dynamics, detail and space when using an external Phono preamp. As with all built-in Phono stages, it's really just a convenience that gives you the plug-and-play solution. You can always upgrade to an external Phono preamp at a later date. Generally though, considering the price and the type of person that this turntable is aimed at, I can't see how anyone could argue with how solid this unit sounds. If I were a new record collector, I would be entirely happy with the sound of the LP60. Equally, if I was the type of music fan who simply wanted an affordable way to add vinyl playback to my, say, living room situation in terms of the listening environment, then the LP60 is definitely favourable to the likes of very cheap suitcase record players from brands like Crosley or Victrola. So what's the bottom line then on the LP60? Well, it might lack the beauty and finesse of more expensive models, but for the casual listener or newcomer on a budget, it offers an extremely capable sound and plenty of modern plug-and-play convenience. If you enjoy the automatic experience and don't want the hassle of a manual turntable, then it's also worth considering Audio-Technica's LP60XBT, which I've also reviewed on this channel. I'll put a link in the top corner now and in the description so you can check out that review as well for yourself. This turntable offers a much higher quality experience that will last you longer before you get that itch to upgrade. So if you can manage to stretch that extra $100 cost for the LP3XBT, I think you'll thank yourself in the long term. Now, What Hi-Fi gave this turntable 3 out of 5 stars, which I personally think is a little bit harsh. Sure, it's not an audiophile product for serious collectors, that much is obvious, but for a new collector on a budget, or more casual listeners, I think it's a really solid start that could trigger a lifetime of musical enjoyment that's beyond the clinicality of streaming. So yes, I do think 3 stars is a little bit on the harsh side, and realistically, if I were to give a star rating, I would go something more like 4 out of 5. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you've decided this is the product for you, do check out the link in the description of this video where there's an affiliate link. I get a very small commission if you choose to buy through this, and I appreciate your support very much. There's also other discount codes in there that you can use to get money off final gear at no extra cost to you. Again, very small commission comes my way, but there's no extra cost to you whatsoever. There's also my Patreon page. If you want more content from Sound Matters while supporting me at the same time, you can get exclusive content over there at the Patreon Patreon page every single month. There's audio shootouts there, for example. So do check that out in your own time. And if you're new to this channel, please do consider subscribing. I'd love to have you on board my vinyl journey with you guys as we spread the good word about why collecting music on vinyl is so much more rewarding. I appreciate your support. Thank you ever so much. But next video, well, until the next video, keep spinning the records, guys. That's what it's all about. Let's enjoy the music, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.